Okay, looks like I'm live. Welcome everyone, welcome one and all. Hope you're doing fantastic out there in this insanity zoo full of NPCs, entity ridden, demonic, craziness. Enjoying the show, guys. Enjoying the show as always. You gotta laugh at it. What do I say to you guys? You gotta laugh at it. Otherwise, you go depressed, angry, sad. And who feeds on that? Who feeds on that energy? Exactly. It's the parasites. Guys, don't forget, as usual, like the video. I know I always keep on going on about the likes, but I'm not joking. It really does help. So we need these messages to spread far and wide. And I'm just going to wait for a few more people to come on. It's great. We've got 10 people in here already, and yeah, we're going to go into some deep stuff as normal. And as normal, it is going to be as good as you guys make it. So um, the more questions that you ask, I'll try my best to answer. And yeah, we'll go deep and find out what we can find. So let's have a look at the comments. We've got Kim in here, Kim Maitland. Maitland, your surname's the same as one of the roads I lived in the UK, Maitland Road. People are scary out there. Oh my god, I wouldn't say they're scary, just like annoying. I mean, guys, I need to make another NPC diaries video because I have had a lot of NPCs come into my field every single day. It's actually really kind of funny, and yeah. So I don't really find them scary. I find it scary how they're so obedient and they're just kind of like on autopilot because that has consequences for all of us, doesn't it? We saw that over the last 2 or 3 years where people just went along with everything and then we get dragged into the mire. So in that sense it's kind of scary, but I just find it a little bit irritating. It seems to be literally like the movie, that movie, what's it called, where I literally just go out of the house, and these people just swarm around me and start making noise. And I mean, I went to a beach here. I'm in a different part of Mexico. If you guys watched my last video, you'll know the Truman Show. That was it. Um, the I'm in another part of Mexico. I'm in a place called Oaxaca, and it's so beautiful here. This place called Puerto Escondido. If you guys ever come to Mexico, you have to visit here. It's supposedly super tranquil and quiet, and it actually is in comparison to where I normally am. And the beaches are incredible. I mean, literally unbelievable. And yeah, even though I head to these quiet beaches, they always find me, guys. Like they'll always park their butts next to me and turn on a speaker. And do people have these portable speakers where you are, guys? Like, is this just Mexico, or because I don't know? It seems to me that people can't be alone with their own thoughts. Do you know what I mean? They've got to have some kind of like background noise going on. Um, and I'm sure it's like a form of escapism, really. And yeah, so so case in point, the other day, I went down to the beach. I thought I'll head down early because normally when it's early, it's quieter anyway. And I rent this sunbed. First world problems, but I'm just making the point. You guys understand. You also experience this. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's people in like really, really, really bad situations out there, and I'm not moaning, but we're talking about NPCs, right? So, and how they will disturb your mood, disturb your peace, so you get triggered and then you get infiltrated, right, energetically. And so anyway, I'm down there by like 8 a.m. in the morning, and I'm like, oh, this is so lovely and quiet, right? And there's no lie, guys. There's about 10 sunbeds, like all free, right? All free. So, so I go into the ocean and I have a nice little swim, and then I look up, and there's this family. There's this family, right? They haven't gone to like the other. Like I've got my bag and my towel and everything on the bed, right? So you can see someone's there. So they haven't gone to the other side or 2 beds down to like give us space, you know, to put space in between us. They've gone right next to me, right? And I'm looking at them in the beach from the beach, and I'm like, friggin' Matrix, like. And then it goes one step further, right? The mother comes around from the corner with a newborn baby, guys, a newborn baby, right, and lays this newborn baby onto the sunbed next to me, right, and you know where this is going, right? You know where this is going. Of course, right? The baby's screaming its bloody head off, right? And I'm like, I'm like going out my mind, right? I cannot believe that there's like a row of sunbeds. It's 8 a.m. in the morning. Like there's hardly anyone there, and this family with a newborn baby comes next to me on the very next sunbed, right? Oh my days, guys. Where I'm sure you guys have got all kinds of stories, but I don't know. It seems I don't know. It's because I'm noticing it more, um, but it happened again today. I was having a nice lunch, and then a whole crowd of people. Literally, there's a restaurant full of tables, right? Full of tables, right? It's still early. Like I was having lunch about 12, which is early here. This whole group of people come in. Where do they sit? Right next to me, on the table right next to me, and they're shouting the noise from their phones. They're like, I'm not kidding you guys. Like, you just cannot make this shit up. You just cannot make it up, right? But you know, you have to see the funny side of it, and you know, I have a good laugh. I'm laughing at it now, and I wanted to share this with you. I've got so many other stories as well. You really you wouldn't believe it, but anyway, we'll get into that in a bit more details. But before we go on, guys, please again don't forget to hit the like. It really helps me out. And if you would like to check out any of my work with me, check out my course. Don't forget you can find everything at my website transcendingtimes.org. But let's get into the question. So the floor is open, guys. We can talk about anything that you want. Soul Trap, Matrix, entities, NPCs, more NPC stories. Got a whole bag of them. Don't you worry about that. Wherever you want to go, guys. I've had some pretty good guests on the channel over the last couple of months. So like to get your feedback on that. Is there anyone else that you wouldn't mind me doing a review on? I see Magenta Pixie has been talking about the false light matrix recently. I'm going to break that one down over the next week or so. You know how we have a good relationship, Magenta and I. We've always got on very well. Yeah, so there's some good stuff coming up around that. They're still going at it, these new ages. They're not giving up. They're still spouting their love and light and getting people hooked into all kinds of problems, hooked into these cul-de-sacs. And I'd love to know if there's like newbies here as well. Obviously, I've got a lot of people that are always joining the channel. Welcome to you. Welcome to the Nut House. I want to say this again to everyone. I know my information doesn't always feel good in the moment, especially when you've come from the New Age background. Sometimes it's even hard for me to talk about these things because, you know, I'm conscious that, you know, people out there right now, it's a sensitive time for people. And but I think it's important that I do put this stuff out there. But I just want to say, big up to you guys who are brave enough to take a second look at some of this stuff. Some of this stuff that we call tradition, that people have done for years and years and years. It takes a lot to look at things again with fresh eyes, and not to get so into your feelings. I was having a chat on another podcast today about how people are discerning by how they feel, rather than what the truth is, and that is where people are getting themselves into trouble. So credit to everyone, I guess, on the chat, because I guess you've already been through that process. Yeah, all good, all good. So let's have a look at the questions. What have we got here? Wrist Beach or Sea Beach, hi from Montana, part of Clown World. How is Clown World, Montana? I want to know more about NPCs. If you want to know more about NPCs, just hang out with me, right? Just come and hang out with me, just even for a day, right? just for a day. You'll be swarmed by them. I'm like a pile of dog shit with flies with NPCs. Whenever I go out, my NPC never change. Always same annoying people in traffic. I'm sure I create them. Yeah, they just come out of nowhere. Just like in that clip of the Truman Show where he's walking down the road and they all come out into their houses, into their cars at the same time. It's very much like that. And I don't know why people are you guys finding that people are just mentally quite slow right now? I'm really finding that people are just, I'm not out here saying I'm better than anyone or anyone's better than anyone, but I don't know, just the old ticker right in the head seems to be just going so incredibly slow in some people's brains. It's really like the lights are on but no one's home, and that's also kind of challenging. Scotland was mega warm today. Well, you enjoy it, Kim. Enjoy your one day of sunshine up in bonnie Scotland. Scotland is, honestly, if you catch Scotland on a day where there is sun, I'm not joking you, right? It is one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Incredible scenery up there around Loch Lomond, the Highlands. White light shedding any closer to me and they would get up on my shoulders. I tell you what is not fun but an experience, walking around a supermarket. I mean, isn't that just like, it's weird anyway, isn't it? Like the whole idea that you go to this one place, all your food's packaged for you by someone, and then you have to buy it, right? You don't see like birds buying their food or monkeys buying their food or cows buying their food. No, we're the only species that actually has to buy their food. So that's kind of strange. But the way people like walk around, just like, I don't know, they're looking at shelves and there's just like, it's just something missing, I swear. Maybe it's just here. Tilar says, I'm new here. I'm enjoying your channel so much. Good to have you here, Tilar. I hope to, this information is tough. If I can make you smile a bit along the way, then I'm happy, So I hate noise. Yeah. I tell you what, as well, like the more you clear yourself energetically, the more sensitive you are to not just noise, but people's energy as well. We were talking about this in our weekly Q&A in my course, and the guys were all saying the same thing. Extremely extremely sensitive to people. It's a gift and a curse, right? Because that is a gift that needs to be strong within us, right? We need to be able to have that sixth sense when we're dealing, especially when we're dealing with people in this matrix, right? It's not the most safe places, is it? Let's face it. So if we can feel into a person's energy, um, then we're almost one step ahead. So it becomes a gift in that sense. But because people's energy more often than not is pretty bad, let's face it. Um, you know, you feel that, right? And so it can become challenging at the same time. But I wouldn't change it. You know, like I say, we were talking about how how you can almost now sometimes I'll if I'm sitting there like in a cafe or a restaurant or something, it's almost like when a person can walk in, I can almost feel what kind of mood they're in. I'm like, okay, that person's depressed, or there's something going on. Like it's really weird. I don't know if you guys tap into that, but certainly the more you clear yourself of like entities and implants and overlays and cords and all the etheric junk, which I teach in the course, then you become very sensitive like that. It really is a superpower, but you got to be careful with it. So um, Kim says I've got many stories like this too. I think we all have. Do you know what? It would be so cool one day if we could all just sit around a campfire or something, the whole lot of us, and just share our stories, just share our NPC stories. I'm sure we would all like really have a big belly laughs, right? Sakura, my family just caught a mild case of the C word. Any tips for self healing? Also, what do you think they're trying to do with the weather? Okay, so I don't believe that viruses exist. That's the first thing. I've spoken about this before. The idea that you can sneeze on someone and they can somehow catch what you've got is one of the biggest lies ever taught to us. So I would advise looking into germ theory and terrain theory. Basically, what colds are or flus is the cells of the body are excreting toxins which give you your cold and flu symptoms. And that is what. So when we get colds and flus, it's actually the body working for you and trying to clear you out. Um, Now with what's going on at the moment, because there is a lot of people that have come down with sickness. I recently, I don't know if I told you guys, about a month ago, I came down with a flu, and I'm not joking you. And bearing in mind, I consider myself extremely healthy, the way I live my life, what I eat, you know, the amount of work I do on myself energetically, and all that kind of stuff. I literally at one point thought I was dying, right? I was laying on my couch and I thought, this is what it feels like to die. And I thought there is no way that I could like be it doesn't make sense that I would be getting the flu like I got it. And you know, I've had it like two or three times in the last couple of years, which is really too much. And so what I believe to be going on, and when I tuned in, I feel like they're doing something with the electromagnetic frequency of the planet, with the installation of the five you know what, and they can turn that up, right? Because the reason I say this is that there were a lot of people, not just in my town, but around the same kind of time when I was speaking to clients in sessions, they all were telling me that they knew people that had it or that had come down with a really bad flu. Um, a lot of people where I live locally had come down with something, and I think that in that period they'd turn the volume up on whatever they were doing with the you know what. So I think it's more radiation poisoning more than anything else. Maybe there could be some kind of like bio weapon or something that's been released, but I'm leaning in towards thinking that this is them doing something nefarious to all of us with the radiation and the five you know what. Because on an energetic level, guys, as I've explained probably before, but it's not the 3D puppets that are really running the show here. It's the entities that control them. And it's more than one entity race. It's not just reptilians. There's a whole plethora of different entities out there, different entity races, and also there is etheric AI, which I believe is kind of like the head of the snake here, with some kind of AI god, or this AI that considers itself God. Well, they need the frequency of the planet to be at a certain level. And I think what's happening is there is a frequency war. And as we're expanding, and we spoke recently, me and Ola, about this time that we're living in, that there is certain energies, let's say, that are changing, that are working in our favor. And I'm not saying that we've just got to sit there and be all love and light and spiritually bypass and we're going to be saved. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that it appears that, and they've known this for a long time, that things are shifting, and the more we shift with that energy, the more problematic it is for them. And again, this is why they need to keep this reality in a state of constant fear, sadness, anger, depression, because that is the very energy that they feed on. That is like their caviar. I'm going to be making a video about entities coming up in the next week or so. I haven't gone deep into that for a long time because I've had other guests on the show. But yeah, that is so there is like a frequency war going on, and I think as me and Ola were speaking about it in the last podcast, there seems to be a fork in the road whereby they need to get things done by a certain point. Otherwise, it won't go their way. So there's like a race going on. I think that's what's happening. So they're in a rush to, lock us down and, enslave us totally, with all their plans of, like a Chinese society, social credit score, CBDCs, central banking digital currencies. Guys, that's the next thing that we're going to need to push back on. The central banking digital currencies are looking to be introduced probably within the next couple of years, if they don't do like some kind of psyop to introduce them quicker. If you look at what's happened in Nigeria, they basically they were having issues with their currency, and so they introduced a CBDC, and none of the Nigerians took it up. I think it was like 11% of Nigerians took it up. So what they did is they made sure that they're actually burning money. There's videos online where you can see Nigerian banks were actually burning the money. So the Nigerian people couldn't get cash out, and they were starting to obviously panic, and they weren't able to buy food and stuff. So then they came in with the solution, which was the CBDC. And sorry, the solution was already there, but no one was using it. But once they did that, the usage rate went from like 11% of the people to like 61% of the people. And if they get the CBDCs, then and they're going to try and repackage it and come up with different names for it. So I think that's the next physical battle that we have. We have to reject that wholeheartedly. And so yeah, that's what I mean. They're in a race to get us locked down and yeah, sort of clamp down on our expansion, if you like. So guys, we've got 75 people in here, 25 likes. So if you wouldn't mind helping me out with the likes there, really appreciate that. As I say, it really does help the channel, helps the message spread. Let's have a look at more of the questions that you have here. Oops. The white light, explain more about it. It depends what white light you mean. Do you mean like the false white light or the white light tunnel? I mean, I can explain both. So the white light when people die is part of the soul trap, and and I believe it to be the moon. Um, and false light energy is tied into a false white light energy grid, which taps into things like Reiki, a lot of the New Age stuff, light language, things like that, whereby, and you see it with these people that are hooked on the New Age. It's almost like you look at them and the lights are on, but no one's home, and this is why a lot of these New Age teachers are like, and when we raise our frequency, then we will be able to ascend to the new earth. It's because they're like locked into that false light energy grid. Um, so there isn't really much information out there, to be fair. So that might be why you're struggling to find that. And then, of course, you have what I refer to as false white light beings, and these are simply entities that are masquerading as whatever that person is into, right? Both if they're into it in their physical life or at death. So, people that channel and they think that they're channeling Archangel Michael, and this came up again in my course group this week, where we've been discussing channeling, and I think it's an important point in the fact that, and I've spoken about this before down the years, how truly deceptive that these beings are, and how the person can totally believe that they are working with an angel, a loved one, whatever, mediumship. Yeah, definitely in terms of people that think they're connecting with dead people. I mean, most dead people have been recycled back round via the soul trap. So that's one issue with that. But also, yeah, I mean, like I always tell the story of the guy that thought he was channeling his dad, his dead dad. This entity told him all kinds of truths about himself because they know us, right? They know everything about us. So this entity was saying, yeah, I mean, you've got a boy and he's 15 and he goes to this school, and so what that does is it builds trust, right? And so this guy was like, well, it must be my dad. And then so he kept following the advice of this entity, and he lost everything in the end. He lost his business, he lost his home, he lost his wife. And so this is how they work. They will give you a certain amount of truths, and then they will dump in the punch bowl. And then when you're in that state that he was in, of course, they've attached, they're siphoning off his energy, and he becomes a kind of like a puppet for the Matrix at that point. I've seen them do it with prominent New Age influencers, where they will give them pieces of information that seem absolutely incredible, and on the face of it, they are. But 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the line, these entities are draining their energy. Everyone's feeling like crap. Mind loops, just everything's gone into a mess. So it's a real issue, and obviously it's something that people don't want to hear, because they want to think their guides and higher self and all this is there for them. But I always say, like, what is making you want to connect with those things? What are you missing internally? Are you looking for some kind of comfort, or so I would always look at the reasons as to why someone would want to do that in the first place. So yeah, there's false light energy, false light beings, false light tunnel. So I hope that answers your question. Hola from Australia. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Have you done any research on healing with sound frequency, such as 528? If so, what your take on it? I think there are certain. I mean, I know they changed the frequency of music, didn't they? What was that changed from? I don't know, 432 or something like that. So I mean, there is definitely everything's frequency, and I do truly believe that certain frequencies do have healing properties and can help. I mean, I was reading an article about certain animals, which I found extremely interesting, and they were talking about the purring of a cat. The purring of a cat can actually help heal. About that, I thought, yeah, when I had a cat in Thailand, I remember laying with her and she was purring, and it really did feel, like there was some kind of healing going on. And the other one was the crickets, the sound of crickets, and I thought, yeah, that definitely feels like that's a thing as well. When you hear them all chirping at the same time, there's something about that frequency that feels good to us. So for sure, there's certain sound frequencies. There's certain things down the years that I'm now not so au fait with. One of them, binaural beats. I had a really bad experience with binaural beats. I listened to a video. This was about maybe 4 or 5 years ago now. And after I'd listened to the video, for the days following that, something didn't feel right in my head. I felt like an implant had come in, and so as I was checking myself, and luckily I can clear this stuff, but it took me a while to find it. It took me a while, and eventually I cleared it, and yeah, it'd come in from whatever was in the binaural beats. So people are still talking about NPCs. It's a real trigger point for people. I left many groups because their energy too much drama. Yeah, there's a lot of drama out there. I just do my thing with it, and that's what I really love about the energy in my course, in the support group. Um, everyone in there is so cool, and it's such sovereign energy. There's no like, although I'm kind of like there's no kind of like guru master relationship. Other people are also holding healing sessions, and people are connecting. Some people are looking to connect offline. There's people in the UK talking about meeting up, and people often tell me that they feel lonely with this information and they feel alone. Well, that group's a game changer within the course. So guys, if you're interested, you're going to learn a whole lot of stuff, and you're going to make some really good connections, hopefully. So you can check that out on my website, transcendingtimes.org. Any new ideas how to exit the matrix with zero chance to get back in? I've spoken about this, Stain. If you go back about months ago, I actually made a video, and it was titled "My Personal Plan to Leave the Matrix or to Exit the Matrix," and I just talk about it there. So I would go back on the channel and listen to that. Jane says, just caught this live. What are your thoughts on DMT? No, I don't recommend it. And again, I had this conversation. I mean, I have this conversation nearly every day. First of all, when you smash your consciousness open like that, it opens you up to a lot of entity attachments. And I can't tell you guys the number of times that I have got a client come to me on a Friday, and then on the weekend they've gone and on the Friday or the week before they were fine, and then at the weekend they go away, they take ayahuasca DMT despite my advice, and they come back suicidal thoughts, feeling drained, severe anxiety. These are all signs of heavy entity attachments. And the way these entities work is, the more you are off, the more you smash your consciousness open, or the more you're out of your center, the heavier the attachment, right? So, for example, when I work on people that have sadly been sexually abused, quite often they will have a stronger entity attachment. And I'm going to talk about this in my video that I'm going to make about entities in detail. So that because they've got into such a strong state of trauma, it's almost like a stronger attachment can come in. And the same thing applies with things like DMT and ayahuasca. Meths is a particularly bad one. A lot of schizophrenics that are on those really heavy drugs have very strong entity attachments. And so this is part of what the Matrix is promoting. When you look at someone like Terence McKenna, who was basically a CIA operative, who was pushing psychedelics and plant medicines and things like this, you also look at the hippie movement, right? The hippie movement, they were onto something. And then what happens is they gave them all acid. And what happened? We're all still enslaved, right? So I know it's kind of fun, right? But the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And I tell you why the juice isn't worth the squeeze is because you are only seeing a layer of this matrix. You're only going into the astral realm. You're only going into the fourth dimension. You're not experiencing the entire expansiveness of a human soul, which can go beyond this matrix and the layers of it and the dimensions of it. So you're just getting a peek into like a peek through the door when there's a whole entire farm outside, right? You're seeing a peek through the door of a living room. And like people come back thinking they've had all these incredible insights. And don't get me wrong, you can have some insights, but you're simply having a peek into the next layer of the matrix. And in that layer of the matrix is where these entities reside. That is their home. And they will present themselves as like angels or God or, there's so many stories, guys. Like I'm going to write a book in the next few years talking specifically of the thousands and thousands of examples of people that I've worked with down the years that have told me story after story after story after story. I've got one guy at the moment that was that has taken a lot of ayahuasca in his life, and there's problems there in terms of entity attachments. But people, especially in the plant medicine community, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. I mean, there's stuff that's gone down on some of those retreats. People have died down there. Do you ever hear them talking about stuff like that? Like, there's no like aftercare for these people either. I've made videos on this, but yeah, and then they rock up at my door, and then I'm clearing them from all the stuff that they opened themselves up to in the first place. So anything like that, I know it's boring. I know some of you are probably going to hate me for it, but it is what it is. Take it or leave it. It's, I said on another podcast this morning, I'm the sort of person that I like to think I'm the sort of person that tells you what you need to hear rather than what you want to hear. And I personally value people like that in my own life. They're very few and far between. I'd much rather have people in my life that will tell me what I need to like and say, Tony, you know what? You're being a bit of a dickhead, mate. Like you should really consider what you're doing there. Rather than someone that will say, yeah, that was funny, Tony, just carry on, right? I don't want people in like that in my life. And I don't want to be like that for other people, especially, obviously I have a platform now. So I try and keep it on point with everything. With what I'm saying, I don't just come out and say things. I don't just say things because they might make people feel good. And it's the same with the guests that I have on as well. I'm very careful with the guests that I put on the channel. I go to some YouTube channels and it's like there's Soul Trap here, it's holographic universe here, it's this here, it's And then there's like new ages on the channel, and then there's people saying that we're in the new earth. I'm like, whoa, like how confusing for people. So I don't know why I'm saying that. Oh yeah, that was it, because the plant medicine thing and the DMT thing. Same with weed, guys. You know, people hate me for that. That's why I get a lot of hate out there, because my messages are disrupting people's comfort. I'm a disruptor of people's comfort. That's basically what I am. That's my role in life. For my job, I shift. I shift shit that shouldn't be on people, etheric junk, and then I'm also a disruptor in terms of I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I actually quite like that. I think that people need to be challenged in their beliefs, and I don't profess that I have it all nailed down, and I'm still learning myself every single day. God, every single day, every client that I work on, I learn something new. I'm not joking, you guys. I've even learned a lot of new stuff from the people within my course. They've also taught me a lot. I'm open to new information. But 10 years now, nearly in doing what I do, I do know what I'm talking about in this respect. And I'm going to have Jerry Marzinski back on hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and he's going to talk about what pharmaceutical drugs are doing to people. So it's not just psychedelic drugs; it's pharmaceutical drugs as well. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question, guys. We've got 83 on the video right now. 57 likes. So for those of you that have been shy on the old like button, don't forget to give it a quick tap for me. Thank you very much. Oh no, don't. That makes me cringe. Fixing Adele says, I remember seeing videos of you as a vegan and you seem so much different now, so much better on the meat-based diet. Do you know what? I looked at myself in one of my videos when I was vegan the other day, and I had the whole vegan sunken eyes. I think I was talking about chakra removal or something, but I looked at myself, I'm like, man, you went wrong there. I held my hands up, and they got me on my empathy. I've explained that before. I watched Earthlings, and that was it. I mean, how can you watch that and not feel anything, right? But I'm so glad. I'm in a way, I'm glad that I lived that, because now I can talk about it from a position of authority, in the fact that I've lived it. I know that it makes you sick, and you can't do it right because there isn't a way to do it right, because you can't get the bioavailable nutrition that you need from plants. Bioavailable being the operative word there. There is nutrition in plants, but we don't have the stomachs and the digestive systems to process it. The cows do, right? But yeah, I mean, what can I say about that experience in my life? And I tell you what, if it wasn't for these as well, the X39 stem cell patches that basically helped rebuild my brain, because I had severe memory loss. That's why I gave up. They really accelerated my healing. So I'm on like mainly raw meat now. So raw meat with the X39s, also helping with the old wrinkles there, guys, as well. So I definitely noticed some shininess and some wrinkle free there. The link's in the description if you're interested in them, by the way, also. They're helping a lot of people with all kinds of pains. Fibromyalgia. I've got a lady on bad fibromyalgia, and she was 2 weeks on the X39 up and walking again. So again, I don't pin my now to a mast over anything. These are tried and tested. And yeah, I said earlier to someone, like, there's a lot of darkness coming to the surface now, but we're also seeing new ways of living, new ways of being, holistic approaches, not necessarily new age approaches. And so things like CDS and MMS and you know, these patches are really coming to the forefront now, also at the same time, to enable us to combat this war that we're involved in, where, let's face it, they're trying to poison us and kill us. So, but I poisoned myself and tried to kill myself when I went vegan. So, yeah, I'm glad that I'm not doing that anymore. So, NLC Collectibles, what's your best advice with the jab injury? Okay, so I would listen to my heavy metal removal healing video on my playlist, which is free. I would listen to that regularly. I would also try and find someone that sells CDS, chlorine dioxide, or MMS, which literally cleans the cells. I would get some activated charcoal. I would get some clay. What's it called? The BioClean clay. And I would also get glutathione patches, the Lifewave glutathione patches also, because the glutathione is the detox element in your body. Our glutathione is essential for detoxing. If your glutathione levels are low, like they are in most people, then you're going to have trouble detoxing anything. And so, yeah, the glutathione patches will increase glutathione levels by over 300% in 24 hours. So it really gives them a boost. But yeah, other than that, the free healing videos, the CDS, MMS, activated charcoal, bionite clay, I think it is. So it would need to be like a 4 or 5 pronged attack. And actually, I wouldn't just be doing that for a jib injury. I actually do that myself 2 or 3 times a week. The reason being is because what they're spraying, what's in the water, what's in the food, they're putting this graphene stuff in everything. And we all really need to have some kind of protocol that we're doing on a regular basis, which helps clear that stuff out. Because that stuff, yeah, it's like it's nasty stuff. So that's what I would suggest on that. Hi, Tony. Any thoughts on why people usually refer to the lower 4th dimension but rarely to the higher 4th? To me, it's all the same, 4th dimension. I don't think there is a higher or a lower 4th. I think it's all 4th. Amy says, new to your content and going through a grieving process. Oh, poor Amy. I said this at the start of the live, Amy. You know, I know on the surface, I know initially this information doesn't make you feel so good, but it's empowering in the end. And you're going to be on a much better and safer path, I promise you. As are people that have been here for a long time in this chat as well. Some good old faces. Joyce Kerr is one of them. So yeah, my heart goes out to you, Amy. And yeah, actually, it's a good point that you bring up there. There is a grieving process, isn't there, guys? I was never kind of heavy into the New Age, but for some people, they've really gone through it. Like I've had people cry, right, when I've said certain things about, don't connect with angels or anything like that. And it is sad because what this stuff is, guys, it's something that people can lean into to support them, right? And then when someone like me comes along and I sweep away the stool from behind you, it's like, whoa, like I'm on my own here. And it's scary. It's scary. It's sad because your support blanket has been ripped off you. So I get it. And my heart goes out to anyone that's new to this information. But from the guys that are here, that have been here for a longer time, they'll tell you that will pass and you will come off better for it in the end. So it's hard now, but keep going is what I would say. So yeah. Do you feel it's possible ones with divine spark could fall for the dart and come to the senses later? I think that's already happened. I think a lot of people have come to their senses over the dart. And so, you know, I don't think that this stuff I think that we can get it out. Oh, yeah, that was it. Bentonite clay. Thanks, Stacey. I said that wrong. With the protocols in place, I think you can get this stuff out. And I think that's the reason why they need to keep boosting, because I feel that like 3 months that it kind of wears off. That's why they wanted people boosted and boosted and boosted. So of course it's done a lot of damage. Some people irreversible. Some people are sadly dead, right? But I think that some people can get it out of the system energetically. And again, I talk about this and teach this in the course. You can do things with DNA, and you can do things with. I mean, you can see in my free healing videos, you can do stuff with removing heavy metals and stuff. You can do so much energetically, guys. Honestly, the world is really our oyster as to what you can actually do. And of course, they don't want us knowing that. Joyce says, for every drug, the average drug side effects are around 10. Drug dealers in white coats. Yeah, they are. Absolutely. That's what doctors really are. And what was horrific during the illness is how hospitals were getting paid. I better not talk too much about this because I nearly got my channel taken down during those years when I kept talking about it, and they don't like it even now. So, oh, that reminds me, guys. Please connect with me on Telegram. The links are in the description. I've got a Telegram group. And also, if you go to my website, transcendingtimes.org, subscribe to me on my email list, because you never know. And it's more of a personal way of keeping in contact with you guys. So the Telegram group, if you're on Telegram, and the email list at my website, transcendingtimes.org, be great to see you on there. I'm also on Bitchute, Odysee, Rumble. I think that's everything. So what else have we got? Question right. What do you know about thyroid issues? Hyper in my case. With anything like that, I would work on it energetically. I would do body work on that particular area. The thing is as well, when you have a particular physical issue, it's almost like entities will come in on that as well and amplify it. So energetically, you can do a lot around that. So I would personally look to do body work. Also, the patches as well might be something that you might want to consider. Joyce says, I noticed I was grieving the removal of the moon, but Tony, you've helped so much letting false programs deleted, so it's refreshing. Yeah, the moon is a hard one for people. And I spoke about this with Ola about how attached, particularly women, are. I'm just going to say it. I don't know why. Maybe that has something to do with your cycles or something like that. There's maybe some kind of connection to the moon there. The moon's a tough one for people to get over. The chakras is a very big one. I don't know what the biggest one to get over is, but the moon is certainly a big one, and people get really triggered. Jane says, how do you know if the people who are in your life are just part of your life script or not? See, I've got a theory about this. I feel, I don't know, like what I've felt ever since I quote unquote woke up, like 10 years ago, I feel like I'm running my own script now. I feel like once you realize this is a matrix, now I might be wrong, I'm just speculating here. I don't feel like my life is being ruled necessarily by the matrix completely right now. I feel like, especially with removal of the overlays, the chakras, all these implants, all this stuff, I feel that energetically, I'm not saying I've escaped the matrix or I'm out of the matrix. I feel like that, let's just say that influence of the matrix is less than what it was when I was a completely brainwashed football fan idiot 10 years ago, where, I was walking to the beat of the drum of the matrix and government and stuff like that. Now, that's not to say that the matrix won't still present people to try and take us off our path. We've already spoken about NPCs. I've had my own experience with love bite scenarios. I mean, that's a whole other chat we could do on that. I mean, God, and these people are for sure sent to us by the agents of the matrix. So we have to be very discerning. And I mean, I just look at how my life is right now. I don't know. These feel like very much my own choices, and maybe when we kind of wake up to what's going on, we then, because don't forget, we are the creator beings in this. They know that, right? We have that spark of the creator within us, that essence within us. This is the real, like, when you go through all the layers of my work, this is what you will eventually come to, right? So this is what I mean when I say there is gold at the end of it, in the fact that, yeah, we've been lied to about the new age stuff and angels and loved ones and false light and false and Reiki and like you're going, oh my God, this is, and then all of a sudden you get to the core of it, and the core message is like, we are the creator beings. You do not need a savior outside of yourself. You are the thing, or you are the soul that they are most scared of. This is why so many of us have, had things like bullying at school. Some people have had really traumatic upbringings, and because the matrix is always trying to knock us off our path, right? And then it presents the new age movement, and so everyone ends up in a cul-de-sac. And so we have to remember that we now, of course, right now our creative abilities are somewhat being hijacked to a certain degree, because we have laws and regulations and things like that. I mean, so we have to kind of be realistic as to where we're at. But I feel like we are moving towards being able to really be the players in the game, and those source creators, if you like, if that makes sense. So yeah, Health says I'm on my own timeline. Yeah, I feel like I am. I mean, I might be wrong. You guys might go, "Where's Tony?" And you might find that I was in a car accident, right? You probably know that was a matrix. So if that does happen to me, touch wood, it won't. If it does, right, then yeah, then the matrix still had some power over me within this physical realm, but it's definitely not going to have any power over me when I leave this physical body. And what do you feel the long-term DART effects are? I mean, they want to alter your DNA essentially, and they want to interface you with the 5 you know what. So your thoughts are not your own. You become like remote controlled. I mean, when I was with my friend, we were on one of the roads here, the busy roads, And he was like, Tony, watch this. And he got this app up on his phone, and he showed me that all the people walking past had different IPS addresses. I was like, you're joking me. This is like something out of some kind of sci-fi movie. So yeah, they want like remote controlled NPC players. So people are not thinking for themselves. Their thoughts are being controlled, and I do feel that the darts definitely opened people up to entities very strongly. A lot of people were becoming very, very angry, probably because their health was declining as well. Because I think the offshoot of poor health is that you're angry and I know when I had the flu, I was bloody horrible to be around. I mean, good job that I'm single, right? Because like I was just like, I just felt so bad. It makes you feel like kind of angry. So I feel like everything that they do, there's more than one reason for it. Um, so yeah, I do believe that. Yeah, I think that's the main thing with that. So I just saw a short blurb where a woman was attacked by dark entities right after she got the you know what. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. And if you saw, I don't know if you guys saw, there was footage of people that when the people that actually died, they were like leaning back and looking back at something like that. And it was really creepy. And it was obviously an entity. So, I mean, we're in spiritual warfare, guys. There's no other way to describe it. You know, we are in a battle here. It's the proverbial good versus evil, and we're the good. We're the good. The soul beings are the good ones, and we're the ones that they want to target. So, English right. Oh, hang on. English Rose. Yeah. What do you suggest for heavy metal detox? English Rose, I just kind of spoke about that. I don't know if you just joined the stream, but I talked about using my free healing videos, the nanobot one in particular. I talked about activated charcoal. I talked about CDS, chlorine dioxide, or MMS, if you can get it. I talk about the glutathione patches, Lifewave glutathione patches. That's glutathione is your detoxification chemical in your body that needs to be. Our glutathione levels are really low because of the EMFs and everything like that. So if you go back like 10, 15 minutes, I talk about it in more depth if you missed it, but that's basically what I was saying. I'm really surprised you don't agree with Quartz Crystal since she says exactly what you do. Yeah, I mean, Quartz Crystal, I'm going to break down one of her videos. I couldn't even watch one of her videos. Remember when I did Amanda Ellis, when I started watching it, and the frequency, the false light frequency of that video it hit me like a train, and I had to turn it off. And that's why I made the video about Amanda Ellis, because she was working. That video was she was talking about Kundalini as well, and I turned it on and I was like, whoa, that's not good. And Quartz Crystal was the same. A lot of people asked me to review her, and I went onto her channel, and within the first few seconds, I was hit by this frequency, and I couldn't watch anymore. So, you know, I have to be kind of careful with what I'm even reviewing. So, I don't know what she talks about. I'm not interested because I know there's a lot of new age stuff in there. Maybe it's a few truths mixed with lies, because that's what they do. They'll dump in the punch bowl. How do you tell the difference between the matrix messing with you or an entity attachment causing disruption in your life? Well, the matrix is always kind of trying to mess with me or us. I mean, we've spoken at the start of this about NPCs that, you know, you just want to be peace and quiet, and then something will come in, and you know, that kind of thing. So we're always kind of being messed with. Love bite relationships, you know, I touched on that earlier, whereby because that love is a weakness for us all, right? We all want love, we all want connection, because especially because so many of us are disconnected, because not many people want to do the inner work. So people are looking for love and connection, and then the matrix will supply it. Now, I'm not saying that you can't find genuine love and connection, right? I'm just saying that we have to be very discerning who we let into our personal lives, because these people show up in your life as everything that you ever dreamed of, right? On paper, you'll be like there with the checklist, right? Brilliant, tick, 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 and then 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, 2 months, the mask starts to come off, and you're dealing with a totally different person. You're dealing with a psychopath, a sociopath. I've lived it. I've lived it a couple of times. I've learned the hard way. And I've done interviews with Evil Organ on my channel where we go into all of this. So it's wild out there, guys. It's wild. It's Wild West out there. Wild West out there in clown world. Now, in terms of entity, put my teeth back in, entity attachments, it does help once you don't have the chakras, because your mind becomes quieter. It's one of their main ways into our energy field. And so when you clear yourself more, I mean, for me now, I can tell within a split second, really, if something's attached to me. Really, you'll know if you're just minding your own business and you'll just start getting negative thoughts out of nowhere. You're not good enough. You can't do this. No one likes you. No one's ever going to love you, or whatever your weakness is, right? I don't know. I'd just say you've got an abandonment wound, because this is what they do, right? You've got a core wound. We all have them. And they'll hook into it, right? So just say you've got an abandonment wound, right? Your dad left the family home when you were young. So you've got a core wound there, right? You're in a relationship, you're sitting there watching telly, he's going to leave you, she's going to leave you, she doesn't like you, she's going to leave you like everyone else does. Yeah. Next thing you know, the stress, the anxiety, what do? Most people, they need something to lean into or escape to get rid of those thoughts. Okay, they go to the alcohol cabinet, or they'll go and smoke a joint, or they'll go and, because they're trying to escape those thoughts. And then, of course, that works for the entities, because that opens you up anyway. So you're never going to be 100% clear of this stuff. I mean, this is what I tell my clients, and this is what I tell the guys in the course. Nobody's ever 100%, right? But the more you clear, the more you learn how to clear. And I've said before, I think everyone needs to energy train anyway. There's so much there in the background: contracts, chords, holographic themes, grids, implants, all this kind of stuff. So the more you clear, the better it becomes. Your mind becomes clearer, and you'll be able to sense it even more. But you're never, ever going to be 100% clear 100% of the time. It's getting into a level where it's more manageable, and you're not feeling drained all the time, and you're not having these constant voices in your head. That most of our voices in our head are inorganic entities. So Soul Serpentine, I do 35% food grade hydrogen peroxide enemas. Wow, that sounds hardcore, man. That sounds like you're sucking it all out of your body. I've never heard of hydrogen peroxide enemas, but it sounds hardcore. Definitely feels more karmic than organic. Oh, Jane, don't get me started on karma, please. that BS. Oh man, the more I think about karma, and I read that passage in that book the other day. Guys, that book, I'm not joking you, like, I was welling up reading that book. I've still got a quarter of it to read. Like, the stuff that happened to those people and the lies that they've told about German people, women, children, like, it's unbelievable. And when I think about, and when people will say, well, that was their karma. Like, I've worked with satanic ritual abuse survivors down the years, and I'm not going to disclose some of the things here that they have shared with me privately in sessions. But when you hear the stories of what those incredible souls have been through, and then you want to come at me with karma when those things were done to a 4 or 5 year old little girl or boy, and you want to tell me that's their karma, that makes me angry. And karma is really just a leverage that these entities will use when you die to guilt and shame you back down, you know, or promise you that, okay, well, you won't go to hell then if you resolve your karma. And as I said in that video, where's their karma? You know, where is their karma? The people that are doing all this stuff, these entities, they just carry on day after day, year after year, month after month, decade after decade, century after century, resetting the population, slaughtering the population. I mean, how many resets have we done? Who knows? You look at Tartaria, that was the latest one. And then these new agers, these insensitive new agers that are supposed to be all love and light, want to tell you it's their karma. Incredible. Can I ask you what you think about the orcas attacking boats? I feel like it's a satellite. You know what, Tala? You know, you guys will know, like, the ocean is my thing. I'm a massive scuba diver. Sharks, whales, dolphins. I can't get enough of it. I love the ocean. I'm sure that I was in some other Matrix or life. I was like an Aquaman. No, not Aquaman. Probably wasn't built like Aquaman, but I was like a. I was living in an aqua realm, is what I was trying to say. And I haven't looked into this yet. Someone sent me it, and I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance to check it out. This article, but that's really worrying. The fact that they're attacking boats, and I just wonder because whales are super sensitive, and I wonder if there is some kind of intelligence going on with the orcas that they don't like. The orcas are actually the most intelligent out of all the whales in the ocean. It's something that I'm going to explore more and look into more. But it's worrying. It really is worrying. And yeah, maybe they're just peed off with us. Yeah, Jane. Karma's propaganda, if ever I heard it. They were beaching themselves as well. Oh no. Yeah, it could be. It could be the 5 you know what, sending them crazy. You know, that resonates with me. That they can't deal with the electric because they're so sensitive. They can't deal with what they're trying to do electromagnetically with the planet here. Yeah, Soul Serpentine says, if karma is real, why does evil run the world? Exactly. Have you reviewed Bertina Massaro? Really dangerous new age guy. I've seen some of his stuff, and do you know what I get from him? I get he's really angry. He's one of those new agers that promotes love and light. Is all love and light, but underneath the surface, there's a lot of anger there. As soon as I saw that, that's what I got. I got anger from him. And of course, yeah, he's peddling all the new age nonsense. He's probably got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I've noticed as my channel's got bigger, I'm getting more issues with on YouTube with copyrights and threats of strikes and trolls and all this kind of stuff. It's to be expected. This the more it grows, the more BS that's going to be put out there, and yeah, absolute nonsense. So, any other questions, guys? Oh, we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. Basically, accepting that everything is a bit psyop. I don't quite understand that comment. They hint you there's something special with whales in Avatar movie. Yeah, and also actually talking about sounds, as we were speaking earlier about sounds, listening to whale sounds. That's very good. Sometimes when I'm going to sleep, I'll listen to whale sounds. Poor whales. I love whales. Honestly, I really love, like, I had a very I don't share enough of my personal life with you guys, but maybe I should. But I had a very intimate moment with a dolphin here in Mexico, and it came up to me, right, in the wild, and it kind of like stood up, right, and I could tell it wanted me to scratch his belly, right, and normally I don't touch anything in the ocean, but it came so close to me, and it came and it was like that, and I knew instinctively it wanted me to rub its belly, because on the boat they were saying sometimes they want their belly stroked because they can't scratch it, they like it scratched. So it got close enough and it changed its position whereby I realized that it wanted me to scratch his belly, right? I tell you what, like, this is one of the greatest moments of my life, because I was scratching its belly, and I was looking at it in the eye, and it was looking at me, and there was just this moment where there was this connection, right? And even though this was a dolphin and I'm a human, there was still this very deep connection. And I scratched his belly for about must have been about 30 seconds, and it was so happy afterwards, right? And people have got this on film. I'll have to share the footage. When I finished scratching, it went so fast, right? Swam off, and then it breached the surface. It did a jump out of the at the top of the ocean, because the guy in the boat was looking at it as it came out of the ocean, and it's all on film. And I just have such a, I don't know, a deep love for the animals in the ocean. I do love all animals, but particularly those animals. So it's really interesting point that you brought up about the orca whales, and maybe I'll have a look, and maybe I'll do a review video and make a whole video on it, for something different as well. Thoughts on the supplement Ashkan. I've been practicing no fat for a little while and was recommending this as I make the days count. Well, I can't comment on that supplement because I've never heard of it, so I'm not going to give you a comment on something that I've never heard of. I'm not entirely sure about a lot of supplements because a lot of them are synthetic. I always feel it's best to get it from the most bioavailable source, which I believe to be raw meat, raw eggs, raw milk, raw yogurt, raw cheese, unpasteurized. But could be good. I don't know. But the no fat is definitely, there's definitely something in that. I practice that myself, and you do have an extra power, and it seems that way. More energy, more creative energy, and I definitely feel that there is something in that for sure. Bathing in EMF fields, yeah. That's what we're doing. We're bathing in EMF fields in the middle of clown world, surrounded by NPCs. Jasmine, do you feel multiple timelines exist at the same moment, both organic and inorganic matrix? And the more we learn how to exit the inorganic timelines, we can access the original organic ones. Well, what I believe is that we very much have to look at where we are now and look at the reality of where we are in where we're in now. Because the New Age will tell you just have to think happy thoughts, keep your vibration high, and then you're in another timeline. You're not just in another timeline. You're in another world. You're on the new Earth. You're with Jerry Sargent sitting on the Rainbow Bridge, handing out rainbow buttons to unicorns. So there's that kind of BS. But what I believe is that we have the potential, not just individually, but collectively, to create those, let's say, better timelines. And how we do that is not just via our thoughts and emotions, but also our physical action. So, there's no point in thinking, for example, about being on a better timeline if you're going to, get drunk with alcohol and stuff like that, right? We've got to we've got to align ourselves with the knowledge, certainly the truth, and act accordingly, and then we can create these better lives for ourselves and also collectively as well. And because we're in a physical realm, that takes physical action, and things are slower to kind of manifest here. So you think they send out harmful sounds at night? I hear weird industrial noises in my cities at night, almost every night, that don't sound natural. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I feel there was some videos that went viral a couple of months ago, and there was like this. I can only describe it as like a demonic howl that was engulfing these cities, and people were filming them on their phones. So we know that they're opening portals up, and CERN was a portal. And this is something else that I'm looking to do with my course and the group. Eventually, we're going to look to do grid work on the Earth and the planet, and really try and reverse some of this stuff as well. So again, if you're interested in wanting to be a part of that, the link's in below on my website. Do you think it's possible that nothing exists outside this matrix realm? No, I definitely believe there to be a lot of different worlds, matrices, games, let's say, that we can experience. We probably have had, I mean, this is just my hunch, probably millions of lifetimes. Certainly, there's certainly teeming with life, I would imagine. And I also believe, Jane, that we can create our own realms. I spoke about this recently on another video or a live, that I do believe that we can create those when we're out of this matrix, and we can create those realms ourselves. Because I've seen through clearing stuff, one of the techniques that I talk about in my course is the fire technique, where we can create a fire in the astral and destroy certain things. And I know that works very effectively. So, I mean, that's what we are. We're creative beings. And so for sure, that is something that I believe that we can do. CERN, yeah, Tila, CERN is the portal that they opened up in Switzerland. You can research it. There was a big satanic ritual around it as well. You think that we can protect ourselves with singing harmonic music frequencies? I think it I think there's certain frequencies that they don't particularly like, as certain frequencies that resonate with us more that entities dislike, let's say. But I mean, if you're singing, it would have to be on all the time, or you're better off learning to clear energy and clearing entities and clearing implants and all this stuff, because it's not just entities. Entities is just one aspect of the etheric interference that is going on. There's etheric quantum computers, there's etheric amplifiers, there's etheric AI, there's holographic etheric technology, there's etheric simulation technology. It goes on and on, because, and I know that sounds bad, but within us, we literally have a whole world within us. That's how incredible we are. So it sounds like there's a lot of hijacking, but we are ourselves incredible. So the hijacking has to match what we are. So I think I'm going to wrap it up, guys. It's been a real pleasure, this live. I wanted to do one because I haven't done one for a while. So I just mention a bit of housekeeping again before I go. Don't forget, if you're on Telegram, the link's below, the email list on my website, transcendingtimes.org, all the other things that I've spoken about. If you want to work with me, or the course, or the patches, that's all in the description below. And yeah, if you've got any questions, you can email me through my website at transcendingtimes.org. And yeah, most of all, guys, have fun in this matrix. It's probably going to be your last time around, fingers crossed, unless you make some really bad decisions between now and the point of death. But you know, do everything you can to become the best version that you can while you're here. Be healthy, physically, emotionally, energetically, and you're going to have a way better experience. And then you're going to be able to beat to the sound of your own drum. And you know, let's have a good time on the way out, and bring down this BS thing while we do it, because the more we do that, the more we clear ourselves and become the best versions of ourselves. The matrix doesn't like it. It does do something to the frequency of the planet, and by proxy, you are helping. And you're going to have a much better life experience, and find the joy, find the things that you like doing, get out in nature, get creative. Don't let this matrix steal your dreams, because that's what it wants. It wants to steal your dreams and your hope, and we can't let it do it, guys. Whatever's coming down the road is going to come. A lot of people are waking up right now. And so, you know, we need to be a support to them, and share this information with your friends, your family members. And yeah, lovely to see you all again and speak soon. Take care.